Hi, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our today's session. I'm your host, Marathi, and Marathi Velishad. And today we are going to have a great session, and I would make you more knowledgeable, help you to improve more your life, quality of relationship, and to understand how the things we need to perceive our life, our things around us. And we will have two sessions today. The first session will on a success story of seven habits, um, and where a lady, she was going to ruin her life, and but immediately she transformed her life. And what happened, we will learn about that thing. And also the second session will be on learning how the human conditions impact to make our quality of relationships between husband and wife, between boss and employee, or between parent and kids, and etc. So focus on second session in details now. So after 30 minutes, we will have a 20 minutes break, 2 minutes break, and then we will have second session. So let's concentrate on first session, and that session is part six, is actually the episode six uh, that we are learning and we are sharing every Sunday a success story from the book Living with Seven Habits, written by Stephen Covey. And in that book, every Sunday we learn insight from a success story of every individual on different topics. And today I choose for you a very inspiring story of a lady whose husband uh, has died, and she thought that she would ruin her life, and she lost the purpose of life, and how the seven habits principle helped her to restore her life and give the meaning to her life by doing contribution uh, in the community service, and also learning a new degree as well. So it's a quite inspiring and touchy story as well. We will learn about this. Before going into the story, I would like to have a couple of announcements that we do arrange these sessions every Sunday, 1 local PM UK time. Uh, and one session we do on seven habits and whereabouts of seven habits and its principle of the book, and related the mostly works of the Stephen Covey. Uh, and the second session we do on spiritual intelligence, where we learn more deep, full way, in more depth about core issues of our life. Like today, we will learn about relationships, and especially the human condition impacts the relationship as well. Uh, you can join my YouTube channel. You can uh, engage with my blog, and all details on under the description as well. So I'm very welcome to help you to meet you in any capacity. And let's start our today's session, the first session about and at the moment I'm live at with my Zoom audience regularly. I'm very thankful. I'm grateful to them. They always engage with me, and they learn as well, and I also learn from them as well. I'm also on YouTube channel on a live as well, and more importantly, where my most mainly audience is from Seven Habits group, Facebook group. I'm live there as well. For best interactive experience, I would encourage you to join me on Zoom, because where You can share my screen as well. So it will help you to enhance your learning from there. So let's start from today's session. Today you will learn from this story couple of 7 points which I wrote for you. The number one, if you want to reinvent your life, if you are stuck somewhere and you want to reinvent and you get want to get inspiration, then this story, this success story is for you, which we are going to read. Also, if you are looking for finding the meaning of your life, if you are searching the purpose of your life, then you may get insight from this story. Also, if you want to practice habit number 1 and habit number 8, habit number 1 is be proactive, and habit number 8, find your voice and inspiring the other people to find their voice. So if you are going to practice and see how these habits are changing the people life, then this story is for you. Also, if you are in some grief mode, if you are sad, if you uh, have lost your loved one, or if you have lost a biggest asset in your life, and now you are stuck and you need to way out, uh, then this story is for you. If you also know that what the power of love between two people can impact, then this story is for you. Second last is about, if you know that how you can self groom, how to make a great mental intelligence growth in your personal life by help yourself, then this story is for you. And last but not the least is, if you are eager to serve your community, whichever you belongs to, whether your community belongs to your geographical region, your city or your town, your ethnicity, your language, uh, your skin color, or your religion, or your sect in religion, or or maybe you are a sexual different orientation. So whichever your community belongs to, and you want to work in your community, then this story can change your life. So this is going to be excited. I will make sure that you will enjoy the next 20-25 minutes with me. And while we are storing, as usual, my Zoom audience will help me to read a couple of paragraphs from the story, so that we all can participate actively and reading for each other as well. If you have any question or you want to share your story, please feel free uh, to unmute your mic on Zoom. And if you are a Facebook, then you can put a comment under the comment as well. Or if you are on my YouTube, then obviously you can leave the comment as well. So let's start today's story. Uh, I would like to share a very brief overview of this story so that you have a little bit clear idea before we read actually from the pen of that author who sent this story to Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey himself inspired that story, and he found some of the learning things after that story, and I will share his finding for you as well. Actually, that story is about a lady. Her husband died because of cancer, unfortunately, and before diagnostic of the cancer, both were very close to each other. Both used to be in love like a soulmate. Both were a great friends of each other, but unfortunately, that one of the partner lost his life because of cancer. But that lady could not lived properly, and she went into severe depression because of loss of her husband. And because her husband was source of inspiration for her, her husband was more than a husband for her. Therefore she lost the meaning of the life, and she could not know what she meant to do, why she's here, why she's living without him. And then, with the help of seven habits, she found actually meaning of life. And then she educated her. She was 46 years old. She got the admission in the college, and she got the degree. And then that degree helped her to involve herself in community work which she belongs to. And that community was uh, to helping the victims of racial problems in the country, in the state, or in America, where black and white or other racial impact, negative impact, creates a lot of problem for children, especially the newborn baby, whose husband, whose uh, parents belongs to different ethnicity, but what impact, negative impact, happen on these children because of divorce of the parent, or because nobody is able to accept these children, and many times these children's uh, life at risk. So she involved herself to helping and supporting these kids uh, because of racial discrimination from the parents, from the society, whatever. So, this is inspiring story. Let's start and learn what is this story actually. This story is only on four paragraphs, and my Zoom audience will read it from the screen. Um, I will make sure that my speaker is loud enough so that my Facebook audience or my YouTube audience can hear loudly this. So I would request my friend Jenny if she can start to read this beautiful, inspiring story based on seven habits principles.
I was 46 years old when my husband Gordon was diagnosed with cancer. Without hesitation, I took early retirement to be with him. Although his death 18 months later was expected, my grief consumed me. My first Christmas without him, I didn't even decorate the house. I sorrowed over our dreams unfulfilled, over the grandchildren he would never get to hold or touch. I would turn to speak to him only to be reminded that he wasn't there. Grief filled every corner of my soul. I was only 48 and had no reason to live. My overarching question through my sorrow was, why did God take Gordon and not me? I felt Gordon had so much more to offer the world than I did. At this low point in my life, with my body, mind, and spirit fatigued beyond measure, I encountered the seven habits. I was led to ask myself, if I'm here for some reason, what is it supposed to be? I was motivated to find new meaning in my life.
Excellent. Thank you. It's a great reading. So, her husband Gordon passed away, and she was in a very deep grief, and obviously she lost herself in this world without meaning, and it impacted on her body, mind, and on the spirit, because she was feeling fatigued, which is a very common emotion when the person is um, have a apathy or depression sort of thing for long term illness as well. It can convert as well. But she was lucky that she got actually meaning even after the death of her husband. And it was also because her husband and she both were involved in making habit number two in practice. Like they were involved in making a pie chart. If you remember, if you know that what is a habit number two, which is begin with and in mind, it does refer that you need to make the goals of your life, but the goals should be connect in the roles of your life. So, for example, if you are a mom, if you are a dad, if you are a employee, if you are a boss, if you are a religious person, or if you are a community person, then you need to make goals of each roles. So they had this practice before Gordon, her husband, died. But obviously, she had some plans to do as a wife what she were doing, but when her husband died, then that blank, that area, that slice of his wheel, life wheel, blanked. And now that blank as a wife, because she was not a wife anymore, but what she filled a new meaning in that blank space on the life wheel, which she wrote with her husband, and where she put that she will learn a new mastery, new skill in community which she was passionate about, in which her mother was passionate about, because her mother was also working with those victim children, uh, 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 who were victims of the racial conflict in the town as well. So later she actually got admission in the college, and after this degree, she got a job, and then she got actually a big task from the government, and she supported greatly in that community. So it's, it's let's see what actually happened by reading the next paragraph. I would request Cynthia if she can read it.
Begin with the end in mind. Suggest breaking out the roles of your life. So I drew a pie chart with my used to be roles as they were before Gordon's death. On a second pie chart, I left a huge blank where work and wife used to be. That large blank piece of pie drove home to me that my life was irrevocably different. I drew a big question mark in that space. It sat there looking at me, asking, "What are you going to be roles?" I grabbed a hold of the idea that all things are created twice, first mentally and then physically. I had to write a new script. I had to ask myself, what talents do I have? So I took an aptitude test, which gave me some charity on my top three abilities to create a sense of balance in my life. I focused on the four dimensions. On an intellectual level, I realized that I love to teach, spiritually and socially. I wanted to continue to the racial harmony we had endeavored to live through our biracial marriage. Emotionally, I knew I needed to give love. When my mother was alive, she rocked critically ill babies in the hospital. I wanted to give comfort as she did, continuing her legacy of unconditional love.
Thank you. It's a great reading and learning as well. So she started to practice habit number two, and she worked on. And like I said, she that pie chart of the life, she redesigned, and she filled the gap with her natural talent, which she discovered, and she was very passionate about working and giving the support of the racial harmony, a victim of racial harmony, racial conflict, which she used to uh, involve, and she knew that because of her mother was also involved in these community to support the ill babies, and especially when they were in critical stage in hospital, and these babies used to have unconditional love, and this unconditional love is not easy. uh, Even the true parents, who they are not very passionate about giving that fulfillment to their own children nowadays, because of their busy schedule, because of their own mind is occupied with several things, and they put the conditions to their children in normal life. But how it is possible that you can give love to the children uh, unconditionally, and so it is a great service which we or anybody could offer to anyone, especially in victim, when they are victims, and you never know who is that victim, but you just only know they are soul and they need your love. And in that thing, she actually did this, and like I said, she for this skill, for this new talent which she discovered, or new voice which she discovered in herself, according to habit number 8, which is find your voice and inspire other to find their voice. But mainly thing is she needed to have her own voice, which she discovered after her husband's death, and that voice gave her meaning of life. And then she got the admission in the college, which was very hard. Imagine that lady who is 46 years old, and got she wants to get the school admission, and she will be like a student. She have to fulfill assignment. She needs to do like a student, and lot of focus on the study, and which she was not in the beginning. She could not focus on the studies and research what was the demand of that degree, but eventually she did. And uh, and then after that she got amazing job as well. We will learn further as well. uh, and she, more importantly, she prioritized it. She said, and she found that it is her life. It is a great meaning of her life, and now she found her voice. And maybe she might have other priorities, but she made it on the number one priority. So for this, she exercised habit number 3, which refers the put first thing first. So she made it as a first thing for her life, over the other priorities. So she mentioned in story that she stopped herself to watch TV, and because she found her voice and she got the studies, and it was a difficult to discipline herself, especially in her age 46. And she r- transformed herself as a student, by exercise habit number 3, by prioritizing her new voice and new talent she discovered and she was passionate about. So, and obviously, she was initially failed, like a fear of failure she was experiencing. Like many people, when they start any new initiative, they may have this feeling of fear of failure. But when you start to dive, like imagine you are a bird and you never fly before, and now you throw yourself from the cliff or the from the peak of a mountain, and now you have to flap your wings anyway, so that you will learn and then you will enjoy, and then you will uh, go to the new horizon of your life. So but initially, every bird gets scared when they start to jump from the mountain, in order to make a first flight. So it was her first flight as well. So, but she coped it at the age 48. So let's start to further go inside of this success story, which is the second last paragraph of this. So I would request, um, Mike, if you can read it for us. If you Hi, Mike, you can hear me? Okay.
Mike, you're on mute. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, possibly. Uh, but let's start. Mr. Ifzal, if you can read it for us, please.
I finally unmuted. If you want me to read,
Oh,
I can
yes,
do it.
yes. So, Mr. Ifzal can read after this. So, Mike, you can read, please, for us. Thank you.
I was afraid to fail. I had never done anything in my adult life except work for the Veterans Association. But I told myself it would be okay to try different things, like trying on hats. If I didn't like teaching after a semester, I didn't have to go back. If the racial relations hat didn't fit, it would be okay to take it off and try on something. I began again by going to graduate school so I could teach at the college level. Graduate school is hard, period, but at age 48, it was really tough. I was so used to passing documents off to my secretary to type that I had to take a semester just to learn how to type my own papers on the computer. My concentration was still somewhat impaired from the aftermath of Gordon. It was difficult to discipline myself to read what someone else wanted me to read. Turning off the TV and returning the cable box were acts of sheer will. But I knew that I needed to give those things up if I wanted to get where I planned to go. Habit number
Excellent.
3, first things first.
Thank you. It's a great reading. So, it's very clear from the story, like I mentioned already, these things that she worked very hard in a graduate school, and uh, she was so used to passing the document off to her secretary to type, because it was like a studentship in which she has to behave as a student and learn, and then obviously she has to type a lot of papers, and at the age 48. uh, so so that's it. She exercise habit two first, then exercise of initially the habit number one, which is a be proactive. If she wasn't be proactively that, then she could not go for habit number two. uh, but how she practiced the habit number two if she could not, she was not very passionate leader, and after habit number two she found her voice, which exercised the habit number eight, and then after that she exercised habit number three, which is put first thing first. So there are different rules and principles behind this habit which she worked with, and gradually she were going to where she become very comfortable, and gave the meaning and become happy and delighted, uh, as that's more importantly, at the eventual person, any person who lost, or who gave the redefine, or gave the new meaning of the life, is very much is a courageous thing, an extraordinary event in the life. So, which she did. So let's see in the last para what she finally did, after graduate school, or while she was reading in the graduate school. So I would ask Ifzal if she can read it.
Yes, no problem. I completed graduate school with the 4.0 GPA and began teaching at historically black college in Little Rock. I was appointed by the governor to serve on the Martin Luther King Commission to improve racial relation in Arkansas. I rock the crack babies and infants with AIDS who are hooked up to ventilator tubes. However short my time with them is, I know that I'm giving comfort and I am getting their love in return. It gave me a sense of peace. Now my life is very good. I can feel my man, Gordon, smiling at me. He told me time and time again before he died that he wanted me to have a life full of laughter, happy memories, and good things. How could I waste my life? This is directive on my conscience. I don't think I could. I have an obligation to live my life the best I can for the people I love the most, whether they are on this earth or on the other side.
Thank you. It's a great reading. So, if you see that there is emotional point in the at the end of the story, when especially she reconnect herself with helping the kids, and these kids were not actually kids; they were in a very early stage when they were infected with the AIDS. They were infant child or ignored or rejected children or victim children because of biracial conflicts uh, within the community. It's very important that obviously with many people who have a problem in their personal life and they get married, then after that, if they get the children, then the children become our biggest victim of these conflict as well. And that happens not only in USA, it happens everywhere when we don't exercise the relationships principles. Then the husband and wife, maybe they have the same background or the different background. They see each other as a threat, and that in the meanwhile if they got pregnancies or they got deliveries, then these conflict does not last until they have to end by divorce, and the children have to suffer at the end, especially the newborn babies. uh, and there are so many NGOs who are working on these type of things, but obviously uh, suffering is there for children. And in this thing, if somebody with a great love, with unconditional support and empathy, if they do job for them, then it is a great service for not only a community work, but for the humanity. Because these children, if they survive because of these diseases or illnesses, then uh, obviously they become the part of the society. And if they had a bad uh, beginning, that the society will suffer eventually. But if they are in a unconditional souls like this lady has, then obviously we can expect these children will raise amazingly and become a great product of the society who will contribute in the society. But that's not very easy. That's because the people who are serving these children or these babies or these victims in any capacity will require to have a support, a great support from people like you, me, we all are. But if we are not transformed, so if our hearts are not full of love, then we cannot give this love to other people. And that's happened with anybody, and the children as well, especially in this condition. So uh, there are a lot of things we can take home now from this section. Uh, I would like to request that there are two types of finding. One, the Stephen Covey conclude from this story, and the second, which I conclude from this story. So I would like to share both conclusion. The Stephen Covey himself, he said The amazing woman not only got a hold for her life, she had the wisdom to mentally create an entire new one. Like habit number two, she reinvented her life. Also, Stephen Covey concluded that her inspiring example illustrates the importance of balancing the four dimensions of life embodied in habit seven. Habit number seven is sharpen the saw. Why is sharpen the saw? Because habit number seven is saying you need to continuously renew and grow your four intelligence, and so she did. She did leverage her intelligence, mental intelligence, by placing herself in a new school, new college to learn new skills, a new level of a professional uh, work in the college, so that she could contribute for a particular community. So it's a great. She could not do without other habits, and especially the habit number seven, and habit number seven is specifically the mental intelligence as well. And last, Stephen Covey said from this great story that she faced fear straight on and left her deeply scripted comfort zone of fearing failure. When person is in a fear, then obviously every person has some comfort zone where she or he does not move from there to make change. So that person actually is a great uh, that person is a great loss actually, because she is he want to remain in a comfort zone. But in this story, Stephen Covey says she did not, she made herself out of this comfort zone. And it was not a quick fix story. And she was patient, she was persistent, and paid the price, and get the reward as well. And my conclusion from this story, which you can take home, that the number one, that she had a great relationship with her husband. She, after even his death, she made herself under the love or shadows uh, of love for which she used to have with her husband, especially when she said that she had a great. Uh, uh, I mean, let me rephrase her. Uh, I can feel my man, Gordon, smiling at me. This is a great feeling that whatever she was achieving in her life later, she was thinking that her husband is smiling at her. It means that her soul was still in touch with her husband, and that was pushing her, that was motivating her to do something, because her husband wanted to give her a life full of laughter, full of happy things and good things as well. So this is the thing which you could imagine. Uh, and also, I could find that if she had some homework before her husband died, otherwise she could not find the way out. So what does it mean? That she knew that there are habits, there are some principles, and she had worked with her husband, and that was like a beam of light uh, to come out from that frustration and depression and gave the new meaning. But imagine if nobody knows there are seven habits and there are some great literature there, and she could not have that idea that there are a great principle where she can work on and she can get out from these suffering and comfort zone as well. She couldn't be. So therefore, there is a lesson that we must be attached with people and books and authors At least if we have in a great pain, in a great suffering, in a very difficult or extraordinary event in our life when it happens, then we should have a way to out from the situation. Otherwise, if some nobody knows that, if at, you imagine if nobody knew that there are seven habits or there are principles which can help you to come out, or there are other ways to come out from the certain situation when you are in great depression for long term, and so imagine how the person can come. Then the person can only go towards drugs, addiction, adultery, sexuality, and wanted to get rid of from the current situation by doing the negative actions in that things. That's the only thing person can do. But if they know already, like the principle, great principles like seven habit have, so then you will go and get the help from these seven habits. Or if the person is connected with a religion or with some spiritual paths, then he or she can reconnect with God or Allah or or a Bible or Quran uh, or any holy scripture, whatever she or he believe on. Then that person can revive her or his life as well. So that's my conclusion. And if you have any question or you want to share anything about this story or want to share your own story uh, in a very briefly, then you are very welcome.
Yes, I'll share something. I was 46 years old when my husband passed away. And it took me about a year and a half to get through different stages of grief. And then I realized I had to do something different. I was comfortable in a job from 1965 until 1992, but there was something missing. And so then I changed my entire field. Um, I worked in a bank that long till 1992. And then I felt that I wanted to give back something to the medical after my husband passed away. But it takes a person sometimes a while to get to that point. And
Absolutely.
then you do have the fear of maybe failing.
Mhm.
But it did all work out because I put in another 24 years at the job that I had changed to.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, absolutely. It looked like this story is about you, Cynthia, as well. And maybe many people also have a great success story. Um, and you tell how did you practice any habit or any specific principle other than even seven habits, which help you to come out from when you lost your husband as well?
There was just something missing after my husband passed.
Mhm.
Well, there was a lot missing after he passed, but um, I was not happy with my job um, then. I just knew that I had to change. And the medical field was wonderful with him, so I felt that I had to give back somehow. I became an EMT, driving ambulances and treating people. That was a whole new world coming from a person who spent their whole life working in a bank. But it was very satisfying. And then I did get hurt on the job, but I maintained my employment with them. But I was just in the billing department, which was another way of helping people with their bills, helping them to get them paid, or taking the time to explain why they're not paid, and working out plans with them to get the bills paid. So the second job was very satisfying. And like I said, I put 24 years into that, and then I retired a couple of years ago.
Mhm. Excellent, excellent, amazing, amazing. Let me see if somebody has a comment on the Facebook. All right.
I think probably the best way to ever get through a grief, just ever, is when you do things like take on the EMT job and go out there and help in a field where you were hurt, and then somehow you want to share with others how to do some healing. It's just so amazing to go out and give back. It's like it's that humanity between each other. Like, I've been through something terrible, you see someone else going through it, and you just reach out that hand in a form of service to help the other individual or even a group of people that you learned. I think that's the best way to heal yourself, is to give that to someone.
Even volunteering, where there's no money involved, just the time, is a good feeling, of helping someone, because I got a lot of help when my husband was sick. I had a lot of volunteers, helping me for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, volunteering is another good way.
Absolutely. So voluntarily work is a great habit of a leaders. Like many times they contribute without any money. They give the time for just enhancing the quality of their thoughts. Because more you do volunteer work, more quality or unconditional things comes in your life, which enhance actually your being, which gives you on a higher value, not only in your eye but also in the eye of God as well. So that's very important. Many great people they give voluntarily contribution in a great organization, um, uh, non-profit organizations, web in USA, in Europe, and in underdeveloped countries are also because of this passion, these feelings of helping the people. When they have crisis, they used to have tragedy in their life, and they had suffered a lot. Then they start a new life by helping the other people. Um, Many people do individually. Many people set up new NGOs. Uh, Many people forms new groups, new communities on site or online to doing these activities. By the way, my this community, which is you are a part, I'm so grateful all of you, is also a reflection of this voluntarily work which I want to do. I would help any person that could change his or her life in any capacity, the way it changed my life. So my Sundays sessions are also because of these voluntarily motives behind. And even if one person could get something from that session, that's my goal is achieved. So that's I just wanted to share my feelings as well about these things. Uh,
And thank you, Meritive. I've learned a whole lot from you this whole year, and it's just been amazing. These classes have really changed my life.
Thank you so much. It's a great compliment, and more importantly, that it helped you to change your life in many dimensions. It's a great compliment for me, and I wish that I could more help you and with, to other people as well. And you're always welcome anytime, 24 hours. So thank you so much. That is our first. We will take a 2 minutes break, and then after that we will come back with a new session on spiritual intelligence, and especially the topic of today's session is human condition, that we are deeply scripted with human condition and make decision based on these conditions, and that impact negatively on our relationships, and mostly time we end with divorce, or we lost our own prestige in our own eyes or the my partner's eyes. So let's see, let's try to learn in more deepful after 2 minutes. Thank you. Okay, now the recording is over. Okay, my screen is a little bit messed up. Somebody has done. Maybe it's mistakenly. Let me see how we can fix it. Okay. Okay, so let's start our second session. Uh, so, Jenny, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Let me start it. I'm just switching on my recording. Right. Welcome to our second session for today's live broadcasting. I'm your host and coach Marathi Alishad. In this session, we will learn about the human condition, how it have impact negatively or somehow positively in building the relationships which we have. Uh, this section is we also do every Sunday on a different topics, and this is episode number 5. We are covering from last 4 weeks on topic of relationships. We seen last couple of weeks every time in relationships how the fear impacts on relationship, how the uh, grief impacts on relationship, how what is called guilty impact on relationship. Today we will learn about the human condition, and which is very very important uh, concept which I want to give you. Actually, it's a reality is more than concept. And before we go into the story, I would like to show you, tell you about the author from where I selected these texts. And today's lecture is based on the book Letting Go, uh, is based on a psychiatrist, the world-known psychiatrist, Dr. David R. Hawkins. Um, who was a great writer, researcher, and we are learning from his book, Letting Go. And every Sunday we learn different topic from that book as well, and try to understand and implement in our practical life. So today, what we are going to cover, and if I say what we are going to learn in this session, and there are, if number one thing, if we are conditioned to respond in specific way and we can't change ourselves, we do not have a capacity to change, then this session is for you. If we want to identify our negative values based judgment and action, then this session is for you. If we feel rejected at home, at work, then this session is for you. If you do not get promotion at your work, or you are not uh, a dear person at your work, then this session is for you, that you will find the reason why you are not getting promotion. If you do not have a great relationship with your husband or wife, like other people, they have a great relationship as a couple, uh, or any civil partnership level, then this partnership is for you. This session is for you. And also, uh, if the you have emotions of negative values, uh, and you often show the negative values as your self defense, then this session is for you. You will know the reality why these negative emotions are not your shield, and why. We will. This session is for you. If you believe in lose win instead of win win with your boss or with your spouse or with your children, and it obviously may have impact on your low self-esteem as well, then this session is for you to know why it is. And last but not the least, if your negative values can replace with some positive values, how it will happen. and we will learn from this session today. I will believe that this next 20 to 30 minutes will give a great time for you to change your life and learn something great and impactful. So let's start this session, and we will read. Um, we have around four, five paragraphs, and from these paragraphs we will learn different dimension of this human condition. But before we reading, I would like to take your attention, and that attention is at the moment away from that book reading. And what is that? How the human conditions impact our life. That's many people may understand this idea or this notion of human condition, but mostly people, 95% people, they don't know how we are conditioned. They think that we are as it is, how I should be, or I'm responding to you or in a certain situation as it is, as I should be. It's very natural, and that our response is everywhere. Actually, it's not. We are responding in this world and in this life with so many conditions. These conditions are impacted with our society, with our nurturing, with our childhood experiences, or with my recent experiences. And these conditions, based on these conditions, I make decision. We Nobody can make any decision without any conditions which will have in the mind based on our past. Now, one thing is very important. We do conditioned and we think about any stuff or any relationship or any action or taking or just before taking any action our with in context of our past experience, our past, my past, how I spent my this day before just coming to you alive with you. How was my yesterday? How was my last 1 week or month or year? What was series of impact or pattern I received from my people around me, from society where I am living with, from culture which I was nurturing with and what I born and I brought up with. These all are part of myself, isn't it? My parents teaching to me, my society, my media, my schooling, my teachers, my newspapers reading, my stories, my friend stories, or my friend stories all have impacted me, and I build up some opinion based on their experience or my experience. And now I am making decision right now for anything based on these all past events, based on all these past experience which I have, and I'm fully conditioned. I cannot make even a single 1% decision or take a step or tiniest step without involvement of this experience which I have been experienced right from my childhood, right from when, let's say, I was age 2 or age 3. I was just a baby, I was a toddler. Then I start to learn and experience different phenomena, and it was, yeah, and these all were storing in my mind as a memory. So I'm taking a action based on my memories. Imagine if you become mad, if you lost your senses, it means you lost your memory which you used to have. What will impact? Imagine now if you are making a decision, if you are r- going ahead in your life, now will these all past events impact on that new life steps or new journey of your life after you lost your mind? Imagine, never. Now it means you are not conditioned, yeah, intellectually conditioned. Still you are conditioned by bodically, by physically, that you have a human, you are a human being, and your body can do certain things only. Yeah, you cannot fly, you cannot swim deep down in the sea. This is your physical emotion is condition as well. So I'm not talking about this physical condition, I'm talking about general condition. So either mentally or physically, so or emotionally. So we act on that thing, and that's the problem, that why we are stuck in our life, why I don't have a great relationship with my husband, why I have no great relationship with my children, why I do not have a ideal relationship with my wife, why I'm not able to get promotion at my office, because I am responding under the certain behave, I'm behaving under the certain condition which I have experienced or I have learned from my society. And that is a problem for me. So this session, this story is going to cover in this whole thing, that I am conditioned. And more importantly, I become a super clever and I try to first deceive myself. Oh, no, no, I'm not conditioned. This is my independent decision. And sometime when my spouse is having a problem because of my attitude, then I said that, oh, this is my internal feeling. My spouse cannot know about, because I did not I did not speak with him or her. So she will not know that what I'm thinking about her. So what I'm thinking about my boss, or what I'm thinking, or I have a hidden agendas about my company or about my colleagues. It is in my mind, and I'm assuming that nobody will know this. This is also our biggest mistake we do. And we try to trap and self-deceive not only ourselves, but we try to deceive other. So in our office, I'm very good with my boss, and I'm doing buttering, I'm doing flattering to my boss, and on the behind, I'm abusing, I'm calling bad names to my boss, and I'm thinking that my this inner feeling, negative feelings, my boss will not know, because I'm not doing in front of him or her. And the same thing, if I have a negative feeling about my husband or my wife, and I'm not expressing to her or him, and I'm assuming that he or she will not know that, because I did not say to him or her. That is my self deception. That is my biggest deception I could do. And how and why? Because I am, because, and why it is because uh, I'm thinking that I'm independent, and other person does not know, because he is or she is outside of me, so she cannot judge, she or he cannot glance inside me, in my head, what is there, what are the negative things in my head. But the reality is your boss will know, your wife or your husband will know eventually, or sometime very quickly, that what you are thinking about him or her. what you are thinking about your boss, or what you are thinking about your colleague, and what you are thinking, or what you have a hidden plans about, bad feelings about your company or at work, or about your work. Everybody will know, because human being is a spiritual being. We are so intuitive. We are so uh, get a silent message from each other that we can't avoid it. We can't um, uh, uh, make them hidden. And when other persons show something weird behavior about your negative feelings which you did not show, then you become scared, and you become another start to deceive you. Oh, I don't mean to say you. I'm a very good with you, but how you are behaving with me? Well, because other person is behaving with you because you have a negative feelings about her or him, or about company, or about boss. And because of intuition, because of spiritual connectivity between two humans, it reflect on the other person's soul that how you are doing with this. And that's why the other person is over smarter than you, and they are behaved in advance with you, which you are talking with you. And when he or she behaved in front of you, because of your hidden inner feeling, then you try to become innocent, and you try again yourself and to your spouse or your boss. So because of these conditions, we are not able to develop healthy relationship, and therefore we don't get promotion at work, because my boss knows me. My boss does not. My boss knows me what are inside inside me, negative feelings about my company, about my work. That's why you are not getting promotion. Why my wife or why my husband hates me or create problems for me? Because I have a negative feelings. I have conditions inside me, hidden condition, and other person or my wife will know immediately. My husband will know immediately. And cleverly they show the same response as well, because I have conditioned myself. That's why I have very low self-esteem, and I have created so many ways to have hatred from other, my partner, from my boss, because of that negative heart I have. And I try to and this is sort of suffering, and it is suffering, because in suffering you try to repress your partner. In suffering you try to suppress your partner. In suffering you try to project your uh, boss or your employee or your partner. So, and if these are the negative values or emotions you have: repression, anger, jealousy, pride, pain, fear, it means that the other person is aware about your hidden negative values which you have. You try to hide it, but you are conditioned with this. Why you are not giving the respect to your wife? Because you are conditioned that women are inferior to men, and you are a man. That's why you have to suppress your wife, no matter she has extraordinary qualities. That you are conditioned under the gender biasness, and so many ways how we show our condition to other partner, and that we show condition to other boss or employee as well. So that we all will read in this topic, the human condition. So that was very important. concept I want to show you so that we can understand the text easily. I hope uh, that has given you a good spectrum and help you to and drift your attention about yourself. So let's try to read from the book uh, and what psychiatrist David Hawkins is saying to us about our negative values, especially in context of human condition. So I would request Jenny if she can read and start our text today.
The human condition, all of the negative feelings are essentially forms of fear. Fear of loss of esteem by ourselves or others, or fear of not surviving and a loss of security. Because most of the negative feelings are accompanied by a negative value judgment, they are suppressed, repressed, or projected. Suppression, repression, and projection are all destructive dynamics and result in a progressive stress on and decline of our relationships. We like to pretend that our innermost feelings are unknown to others, but are they? We are all connected to each other on the psychic, intuitive level, so our feelings are read and known by others. We may not be consciously aware of it, but their behavior towards us reveals that they know our attitude and feelings towards them.
Thank you. It's a great reading. So it's all things which I just explained. I give you an example. Uh, in our society, everywhere there is a taboo or a problem of a girl, a newly girl who's married, and she has to face her husband's wife, husband's mother as a mother-in-law, and you have a mindset that she will interfere and she will shade my husband, she will shade in every she will interfere in my life, my newly life. And you, if you have a bad experience in the past or you have a horrible stories about mother-in-law in the childhood or from society, so you will condition yourself, and no matter you have a so great mother-in-law, you will perceive her say in the same way. And when you will have a negative feelings about your mother-in-law, and even you do not express in front of her through your even body language, like David is saying, that we are connected psychological with each other. We are connected with each other on an intuitive level, or I say on a spiritual level. Then your mother-in-law will automatically know that what my daughter-in-law is thinking about me, and that she will show through her attitude, and that will help to increase the conflict from the scratch, because you have a negative feelings about her, because you were conditioned and you did not work on that condition, and you lost a great mother-in-law who could be a great friend of yours, and because you conditioned your attitude, so you lost her that relationship. This is just an example I'm giving you, and that we can impact and we can implement on any other relationship which we are not covering because of that condition. And we have delusion that other person does not know about it. That is a problem. If what is inside in your heart about anything, how you can say the other person does not know? And when that person show the behavior because they prejudged you based on their wisdom, so you try to become innocent. So that is showing how it is deep full impact in our life. So let's start to learn from the example from And David is giving another common example that when you are interacting with a relationship which you loved most, so what you will do, you have conditioned yourself that you will trust blindly on her or him, and no matter what will happen, you will trust on him or her in any situation, because you do not have any fear to be deceived by him or her. Yeah, so you will do everything for him or her. Imagine you are in love, you are in love with a girl or with a boy or with anyone, and now you will do blindly trust. Now you have conditioned yourself, and you will never see any negative thing in that person. Now look on the other thing. If you are come across with a person which you are scared little bit, yeah, what you will respond with him or her, you will taking step very carefully, you will never trust on that person. Yeah, because you have conditioned now that that person will deceive or will be harmful for you. Yeah, so do we really think that that person does not have any envy or jealousy or any criticalness or any resentment about my negative feeling? Perhaps we did not get the promotion because my boss knew about my negative feelings. That's why he or she is not promoting me at my, because we have learned through different programming from our childhood. We inherit from our parents, from our society. So nobody is exempt from this problem. So we are fully conditioned, and therefore we have a very poor relationships. If we want to have a great quality relationship, then we have to do opposite. We have to come out from these conditions, isn't it? So let's try to learn from from David Hawkins, what he's trying to say to us. So I would request Cynthia, if you can read it for us, please.
For example, let's say that our external behavior on the job is exemplary. Why is it, we ask, that the other person gets the promotion or the recognition and we do not? The answer is to look at our hidden inner feelings about the boss on the job and the job. Do we really think that he hasn't registered our inner envy, criticalness, and resentment? It is safe, but it is a safe bet to assume that others know our inner feelings and the thoughts that go with those feelings. The kind of thoughts we are having about them is very likely matched with similar thoughts they are having about us. If we realize this principle, a lot of things that happen in our life will start to make sense. We can ask ourselves, how would I react if I were the other person and knew exactly what my personal inner feelings and thoughts really were? The answer to that will usually make clear what the person's behavior is all about. Perhaps we didn't get the promotion because at the unspoken energetic level, our boss knew that we were critical of him, resentful of our colleagues, and clamoring, long noise, for approval and recognition. Before searching ourselves for negative feelings, it is best to remember that these feelings are not our real inner self. They are learned programs we have inherited from being humans. Nobody is exempt from them. Everyone from the highest to the lowest has or has had an ego. Even the few who were enlightened had an ego at one time before it was finally transcended. This is the human condition. To be able to observe our feelings honestly requires a non-judgmental attitude.
Thank you very much. It's a great reading. So, if you know that how we are conditioned as a human, and because we all the time in a judgmental attitude, we try to become over clever. We have a negative values and negative emotions about others, even to our loved ones. Even I can witness to many parents have a negative feelings about the children, and they think their children are too um, young to judge them. No, it's not. Your children will immediately know what my mother is attitude have. Children will immediately know why my dad is doing this and saying this to me. So we don't need to overestimate the other people. We try to uh, we try to become over smart by making ourselves more clever. But what happens? What we get at the end? Broken relationship, destroying our relationship, or a mediocre life, or the people with have a very poor relationships, or lot of negativity all that life we will take with us because of these judgmental issue, because of these condition we have put on ourselves. Therefore we have a big strong ego, and that ego will remain here inside me, and that ego will come in every relationship, whatever I'm trying to build. If I do not have a proper understanding how to work on ego, how I need to work in my life without my ego and beyond my human condition. Do you believe that many people, even the people who are enlightened, even the people who uh, claims to be uh, on a very higher rank, before on a higher rank, they also were in shaking position, in a shaking role, or they were in judgmental stages about others, or they were about to be judgmental about other things, until they transcended their spirituality, under, until they transcended their soul beyond from this judgment. They were not great people. So this is not a extraordinary thing which I am telling you now. This is extremely extraordinary and deep learning which I am sharing with you. To be independent from judgment and being over clever. We cannot become over clever enough to deceive others. But more importantly, it creates very poor low self-esteem. Have you seen why other people go towards drugs? Why people do very different, unusual, uncivilized things? Why people nowadays there is a big extreme type of antisocial behavior people they do because of this rebellious thing, because they cannot come out from this condition, because they do not understand it. And even if they understand it, they don't know how to come out from this because they are not at the path of enlightenment, because they are beyond, they are out of spirituality, because they only thinks on a surface level, because they think the waves are creating on the surface of a lake. They cannot see how the lake is silent from the inner side. They cannot see the things beyond from their material existence. They cannot see the people beyond their roles which they have. Therefore, they have a very poor judgment or mostly misjudgment. So, therefore, we have to come out from this human condition. And let me see how this thing will happen. And I would ask my Mike if he can read it, the next paragraph. Mike, you need to unmute yourself, please.
We first have to be aware of what is really going on inside of us before we can do anything about it. As we let go of a feeling, it is replaced by a higher one. The only purpose for recognizing and admitting a feeling is so that we can relinquish it. To be surrendered means that we are willing to relinquish a feeling by allowing ourselves just to experience it and not to change it. Resistance is what keeps it there in the first place. We may think that some of the negative emotions are necessary to us. However, upon examination, we will discover that this is an illusion. The higher emotions are far more powerful and effective in bringing about the fulfillment of our needs.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. It's a great reading. So, if you see that we think our negative values are really necessary, and these are important for our self-defense. Why I show anger to my children? Because I have insecurity about my sorry. So I have insecurity about my ego or my own some securities. So therefore, I tend to be an angry person or become over clever to my audience, to my children, to my wife, to my husband. So therefore, it is very important that we have to come out from this illusion. And these negative emotions which we have, we are not our protectors. Many people think we learned in a couple of weeks before as well when we were reading fear, that why people feel fear because they think that because of fear they are protected. Actually, it's not. So all these negative values are led by negative flow of emotions and lead to illusions, which convert eventually in delusions, and where we become very, very packed with and saturated with negativity. Only thing, if we want to come out from these negative values, if we replace with love, if we replace with those positive values, those positive emotions, which are our need actually, and which will heal our relationships. These are the higher emotions which we also know from the map, which I also give you as a reference, developed by David Hawkins, that are negative. These are on the bottom, these are the negative values: shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger. That has to be replaced with willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and eventually enlightenment. Enlightenment is the highest point of consciousness where our emotions meant to be. where Jesus Christ was located, or even beyond, where Prophet Muhammad was located, even beyond, where Buddha was located, even beyond, where the Krishna was located, or even beyond. They were all great souls which worked and which were on highest emotions, and non-judgmental they were, or they avoid these judgmental or human conditions in this world, and we can also this. So these are the things which we have to consider. So let's try to read further last two paragraphs, and we will try to read. So I would request Jenny if you can read it, please.
All right. Let's ask ourselves, for example, what would we be willing to do for someone we really, truly love? We will instantly see that it's almost anything. There's almost no limit to which we will go for love. Now, contrast this with what we are willing to do for someone who has intimidated us. We will see that we grudgingly give as little as possible. While the intimidators may seem to get away with something temporarily on the surface, they really have lost the whole thing, haven't they? Their victory is superficial, temporary, and not even real, a victory in appearance only. In the end, the world turns and the intimidators sow their own destruction. What we win by the negative emotion is short-lived and inauthentic. It doesn't really satisfy. It's like a forced compliment. Real happiness results from a win-win situation. The price of a win-lose situation is hatred and low self-esteem. Underneath it all, we fool neither ourselves nor others. Others always know when we are out to exploit them.
Thank you. It's a great reading. So you see that how the thing win lose or lose win impact on our low self esteem and create hatred between two people. And we are expecting that if I'm having a win lose relationship with my wife or with my husband, then I should feel contentment. I should feel a pride or a satisfaction in my life. It's not. It won't happen. So that's the problem with us. We expect when don't, uh, we are not able to be trusted because we are deceiving ourselves and we think that I'm not deceiving other. How I will not work on my private life or private or myself, and then I can expect I will have a great relationship, and your bad or conditioned self will not impact on other. It will impact. Don't be over smart. It will be impact. So you need to work on you before you become a husband or wife of other, or a boss or employee, or in relationship with other. Work on yourself, because if you will become a husband or wife or employee or a boss with human condition which you have, don't expect miracles. Don't expect extraordinary relationship. No matter you are not speaking or they are unspoken with your partner or with your boss, it will communicate it through your body language, through the psychological relationship with your other person. So that's the problem, and we have to work on this. At the last, let's try to learn further uh, about how we relinquish the negative suppressed feeling from old program which we have internalized, and they how they can automatically replaced with higher emotions, with higher values such as love, such as connectedness, such as oneness, such as courage, such as enlightenment, such as reason, such as abundance. These are all values, and these are as it is on this planet. They are not fabricated, but we are under clouds of hatred. We are under clouds of jealousy, pride, shame, fear, apathy, depression, frustration, anxiety, negative emotions. And they are like a cloud on ourselves all the time. And we think that this is a reality and I need to behave, I need to do action because this is a reality. And under these negative values, what you will respond, how you will respond to your husband or wife or your boss or with your employee? Very negatively, very badly, very humiliatedly. So we have to wipe these old clouds from us with love, with compassionate, with empathy, with abundance, with reason, with courage, and with power of God, with power of yourself. Or if you belongs to any spiritual path, then you can take as a power and go ahead and build relationships. So let's learn from this last paragraph, and I would request Ifzal if you can read it for us.
Yes, no problem. If we have definitely in relinquishing a feeling, it helps merely to look at the intent of that feeling. What is the uh, what is the purpose of it? What is the supposed purposeful effect on the other person? What is their response? Do we really want that? If this were the last day of our life, would that really be what we wanted? Well, this is the last day of our life, our whole life with all its conflicts, anxiety, and fear. That is the price we have paid for holding on to the old. As we relinquish the negative stress feeling from all the programs we have internalized, they are automatically replaced by the higher ones. We become happier and lighter, and so do the purpose around us. Let's review what these higher feelings are and what effect they have on other person's feeling and behavior in response to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So if you see that if you want to feel lighter, if you want to feel happier and truly happier, then we have to replace these positive values over our negative values, which are suppressing our life, which are creating a very negative relationship with our loved one, which are also causing to create fear, anxiety, and conflict. We have to transform ourselves.
Hmm.
We have to work on this very, very seriously. And next week, I will teach you, I will share with you how the positive feelings we can have. And especially, we will focus on one positive, a series of positive feelings. And one positive feeling is connectedness that I will going to uh, share with you in the next session. So this is the very important message, very deepful learning which we can imagine that will totally change our life or can impact very positively. So before going finish this session, I would ask you to note down or some important points which we learned. The number one important take home point you can do that the suppression, repression, and projection with my husband, with my wife, with my boss, with my employees are only the negative values and destroying the relationship. No matter smartly I can use them or trick or tactfully I can use them, I will destroy my relationship eventually. Also, we tend to hide our negative feelings and assume my partner or my boss that they don't know. No, it's not like that. They are not innocent. They are not children. The third more important message which we can learn that we tend to hide our negative feelings about our boss and company, and we deserve a promotion when we have a very negative feelings about our boss and company values. Don't work with them if you feel negative. You need to work on that organization or work with those people which you love to work with. Don't only work for money. Money is just a component of your work, is a survival engine, is not a life. So find another employment or work or try to start your own business if you want to implement your authoritative type of thing or smartly or cleverly type of thing. Start your own company. We also learned that the level of quality of my emotions and thoughts about my spouse will bounce back me. Yeah, it's very clear. Why my wife is not good with me? Why I have a poor relationship with my husband? Because I'm thinking the same thing about him or her. It bounced back. Like that girl who is newly married and she had a negative approach about the mother-in-law and she got the bounce back relationship from her mother-in-law because her mother-in-law is very experienced container. She knows that what my daughter-in-law is thinking about me. So these are bounce back, definitely. We live in a past experience and condition to behave in a certain way. So we need to come out from these conditions, which is very difficult, but you can come. You know, the best thing what you can do, just understand you are conditioned. And then slowly, gradually, you will come out. That is the beauty of understanding. Because we are understanding the condition with reason. And once you understand, it will dissolve. Like we learned last time, how fear can overcome, how we can remove fear. There are many things, but the one thing, once we understand fear, then the 80% or 90% fear will just disappear, just escape from your mind. And the same thing is here. You need to understand how you are badly conditioned. Then you will come out from it. Also, we do anger and we have forced comment to have a self-defense to feel safe, but really is on the other way around. So obviously, like I said, we show our aggression or negative values, and we think that we are self-protected. But actually, the other way around is a truth that with love, with compassion, with empathy, we are protected. We are much lighter. You know, when people go to their mentors or their spiritual people, or people who are at least enlightened, they feel very lighter. They think that now there was something stuck in the mind and the body. Now they are very feel relaxed, and they start to dance. They start to feel very happy, and feel that when you are truly happier in your life, how you feel like? You feel very lighter. You feel very like you just in entering in a paradise. And when you are full of anger and you have jealousy, you have a negative emotion, then you feel back like you are going to bust. And in that condition, how it will impact your quality of relationship or between you and other. Second last important takeaway home we can do that we only create relationship with and confidence with win-win agreements. Work with win-win. Create a relationship when your other partner, your boss, your employee win and you win also. Not win-lose or not lose-win or not lose-lose. And last but not the least thing you can take you home, that it happens automatically as negative values clouds over the default values of love and soul. So like I said, the love is our default value of human. It like this is the value which we born with, which our nature is around us, that is working under the love and the cooperation with each other. Yeah. But when we add other negative values and build a giant pillar of negativity in our life, then these positive by default values will cover with these clouds. And that's why we are conditioned. Now, if you are watching me, if you are watching live, or if you are listening me on a recording, then you need to think very honestly that are you conditioned, and what are the conditions you have put in your life in regards to the relationship? What the judgment you have about your wife or your husband or your boss or your employee, and write down, takes a bullet point. When you learned, how did you learn? In your conscious, in your subconscious, is stored in a memory. And don't try to impose these experience on your current partner, on your current people, because you will get the same thing from them as well. But if you will expect positively from them, then you will get also the same response from them. So that's the message about today. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to share any story or your own experience, you're very welcome. And if you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, then you can put the live any comment on this, and I will read it for you.
It was a great session to you, Master. Thanks for listening.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Let me see on our Facebook if I have something. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you for my new audience today who joined me. And I would request you, you can join my YouTube channel. You can subscribe my blog where I do write these things as well. There is on YouTube video communities where you can get access my previous event, and you can pass to your friend and family to join my these events every Sunday 1 p.m. Local UK time. I'm your host Marathi Balishad, and I will bring a new topic next Sunday. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and I appreciate your patience and your humbleness to listen to me and to make a honest decision in your life for a greater quality of your life. Thank you so much. See you next Sunday.
Thank you. Everyone have a great week.
Thank you. You too. See you next week.
See you, Jenny.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
I enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Right. Welcome to our second session for today.